I'm still in awe, you guys. Honestly, Gallant, thank you so much for being here with us at Real 92.3 and the AT&T Sound Studio. It really is so refreshing to hear you dropping music again. How are you doing, though? How have you been?
I've been. Is that a trick question?
That's a real. No, it's a real question.
No, I've been well. I've been good. I've been. I'm really excited to be working on some new stuff and like I said so many times, I'm still kind of shocked that people responded to what I was doing, because it's not really that stereotypical or that commercial, but so to meet people in the audience who say, hey, I like the stuff that you're saying and I connect to this just the way it is, makes me just really humbled that the audience that everyone says doesn't exist actually does exist. So
it's definitely there. Where were you when you got that call that you were nominated for a Grammy?
Oh, I was on tour. I was in Amsterdam with my band, and we were all collectively like unspoken, kind of feeling a little bit, down, because we had been touring for a year before the album came out, just like really on that underground grind. And that was kind of the 2-year mark, and it was a year after it came out, almost. So it was really, the energy was a little bit low. So to be able to tell my band, and they all played on the album too, that hey, we got this recognition, and that's the only thing I've ever been nominated for award-wise in my life.
Wow. It's a big one to be nominated for. It's pretty huge.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I was shocked, but I was just humbled that the Academy even had me on the radar, or even thought that was worthy, and to be in that category too for urban contemporary, yes, really meant a lot too, honestly, because the people that are historically there are just very like they're always doing a different twist, but I wasn't sure if my twist was good enough for that category.
Well, apparently it was, because you got the nomination. So
oh, thank you.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I mean, you're there. Stop doubting yourself. What else have you been up to? I know you're working on the album. Are you still touring right now? Are you on tour right now?
Not right now. I do have my tickets for my tour on sale now, though, at toogoodtobetour.com. But it's I'm gonna get back on the road in October, and just in the States. And then top of next year, I'm gonna come back with a bigger tour too.
Gonna be waiting for that. I also got a chance to see you open up for John Legend for his tour at the Greek Theater. How was that for you? What was that experience like?
It was different. I think it was so much time after my album had come out that I was really like John Legend. He's such a great role model. Like there aren't really that many people like him that. People can look up to in that way, so it was great to see how he puts his stuff together, and to be around that kind of energy, and I was honored to be in the opening slot. But it's definitely a different ball game, for me. Like I'm used to like throwing water around and being in like a sweaty room of like 20 people,
taking your shirt off.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was a different story, but so to go from that energy to be like, all right, now we're gonna put you in front of thousands of people who don't know anything about you or the scene or the music or anything, and you're gonna have this whole big stage. It was definitely a jarring transition, but it was a fun experience.
You've had a lot of, I guess, like big stages. I think you also got a chance to perform at South by Southlawn at the White House when Obama was still there, obviously.
Definitely, yeah.
Who? Who? How did you get that call? Like when I saw that you were a part of that, I was like, what? This is amazing.
It was crazy. It was really crazy. I think
did Obama call you?
I think the story I heard was that Michelle Obama was putting together, like curating the music, and I think she has Andra Day there a lot, and I think I did something with Andra Day at that time that was already out. We did like a YouTube video. And I think maybe she had I just kind of slid into her DMs that way, kind of just like she just. You see? So, but
sliding into the DMs is a good thing.
Exactly, just got on the radar. So, but I was honored to get that invite and to be able to meet the president.
Definitely. If you were to get a call from Trump inviting you to the White House this time around, which I doubt that would happen, but would you go?
I don't think I'll be going over there. No, no, I don't think so.
Hey, you've been there once. You know, you could check that off of your list.
Yeah.
What inspired you to get into music?
I think I didn't really say a lot of things, and I had a close group of friends, like a few that were just all over the place. You know, just different types of people, and I felt like I really connected with them, but I just didn't feel like I connected to like the you know, like VH1 reality TV show type of America thing. You know, it was just, you know, I grew up watching like anime and shit and connecting to. Oh, was this live? I'm not supposed to say that?
No, you're fine.
Okay. I'm just trying not to get fined.
I'm gonna say, yo, you're fine. Go ahead.
But I connected to that kind of thing a lot more than the getting stuffed in the locker and you know, being like bragging about, you know, what kind of car you drive and all that stuff. It just didn't really speak to me when I was growing up. So
you went to college in New York, right?
Yeah, at NYU. Yeah.
What were you studying? Were you thinking of something else though before this?
It was I think I wanted like just a change of scenery, you know. And I was like I was 17 because I have a late birthday, so I was like just kind of, I had that angsty energy in me. So where I grew up was just very suburban, like, you know, cul-de-sacs, and you ride your bikes and you get on the hiking trail, and you know, it's like that kind of thing. So and New York is only 3.5 hours away, so I was like, you know, that makes sense. And I just wanted to be around New York and try something different, you know. And I think I applied to Gallant, which was the individualized study school, and I did a lot of independent research when I was in high school, so it kind of let me continue that and just do my own thing. So, and then I was able to graduate in 3 years, which was a mistake because I didn't have a fake ID, and so I was 20 years old and I had never even experienced the bar scene or anything. But I just wanted to have a different change of scenery, and I got to still, you know, study Japanese language while I was there, and I got to study like anthropology and sociology. But then at the same time, I was in the studios, like recording terrible songs. You know, I think
they were that terrible.
If I dug them up, you would know.
I'll tell you they're terrible. I'll keep it real with you too. So I'm gonna have to listen to them. Why the sad face on Ology? I always wanted to know that.
I think at the time, you know, it was a dominant feeling. I had like it was like back in the Hype Machine SoundCloud days. Like I had this EP that I put out called like Zebra, and it was very like extremely like emo, brooding, hipster, ambient type of energy. And
still really good though.
Oh, thank you. But it was you know, that was kind of the place that I was coming from. And then when I was working on Ology, I wanted to take that, but then I wanted to just focus more on lyrics. So I was really taking like all this stuff that I had written, these like essays and stuff, and trying to like fit it in a song. And so to do that, I just kind of got rid of the kind of ambient aesthetic, but all of that brooding kind of emotion was still there. So I thought this best represented, you know, just the energy that I was coming from. And then I thought if I put it like gold, it would kind of have a more optimistic tone.
Yes.
And now I just wear it because I'm not ashamed of, you know, the journey to you know, find acceptance in yourself and not fitting in and just doing whatever you want to do.
I think that's so important to speak of and own up to now, because I feel a lot of us try to find a way to be a part of something, and especially with social media, often for girls, we're comparing ourselves to other girls on social media, like the perfect girl, which doesn't exist. So
yeah,
I think
exactly.
being different is actually a great thing. What can we expect from this album that you're working on now? How much did you grow from Ology?
I think it's a different type of growth. You know, I think you know, I've definitely made a lot. Ology helped me a lot, just personally as a human being, to kind of grow and just open, you know, let down some of the walls that I put up between me and the rest of the world. And so I think just subconsciously all that energy is working itself into the new album. But I'm having a lot more fun, like, with the process of putting it together, you know, because it's like I want to make things that feel good on the surface, but then underneath there's something uneasy about it. You know, like I said, like it's like building a house like on top of a volcano. You know, you can't, like, you still want to dress the house and you want to get the furniture and paint the walls.
Right.
You can't just worry about the volcano when it's going to erupt or whether it's going to erupt, but I want to make sure that if it feels like it's there, you know. So yeah. I've just been looking at it like that, and it's been a lot of fun. And I've written maybe like 60, 70 songs and then cut it down and then wrote more and then cut it down. So it's definitely a different process.
Still chopping it up. One song that I'm really grateful for that you didn't get a chance to perform today is Gentlemen. On behalf of the ladies, I want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Because a lot of us, I feel, don't feel that like there is a lot of gentlemen out there left. It's a really weird time. I'm going to say that, sorry. But also... Definitely. As a man, I think that it's very refreshing to hear a man express himself, or even when you're questioned, like, have you ever had a gentleman? I literally sat there and I was like, wait a minute, you know, and you're saying,
have you ever had a gentleman?
Oh yes, keep going. I'm like, keep going. Second performance. Why was that so important for you to put out a record like that?
I think. I'd always wanted to do. I came home one day, and my mom was watching the D'Angelo video, and then, you know, and I was like, "Mom, what's going on?" Like she was just like, glued. But I think, and then you know, I'm a huge Seal fan, so
you got to perform with him too.
Yeah, definitely, which was crazy. I got to come out at his set in Hollywood Bowl like 2 nights ago too, which was wild. He was doing amazing. His jazz album, which was incredible. But I was a big Seal fan, but I didn't know what the rules are with life, you know, so he kind of just defined them for himself. And I looked at that, and then I looked at his album cover, and I'm like, this dude's just naked on his album. Like I think there are 2 different ones. There's one, it's like Human Being, where he's like naked, but he's like doing this weird like shape or something, and it's just the most, it was the most incredible thing for me, because I'm like, A, he's a dude who feels like he can do whatever he wants in the name of his art. B, it's not trying to, you know, appease a certain sector of the population that only has one idea of what a black male is supposed to be or do or whatever. And then also just the fact that he's pointing out such an animalistic, basic quality of humanity, I thought was incredible, and it gave a lot of context to, you know, his lyrics and the stuff that he was saying and what he represents, and that just really spoke to me. So I had never had the balls to try to do something like that before, but I was also talking to my girl, and she was telling me what about me she finds attractive, because I'm just a nerdy kid. Like, I'm going to Comic-Con tomorrow. I was very excited about getting tickets for that. It took a long time. But I'm just I'm kind of an awkward dude. Like a lot.
What was her response though?
She was like, she said that the fact that, and I think I don't know if she's correct, but she said that she was attracted to the fact that, despite the fact that I'm, you know, that I'm not part of a specific kind of stereotypical culture or anything like that, I just own myself, and and I think she saw that as being like confident and just comfortable with, you know, collecting Pokemon cards, or like, you know, waking up and turning on Cartoon Network. Like, she just thought that the fact that I just kind of own my house, you know, kind of spoke to her, and it's funny because that's kind of how I feel about her. So we're obviously a good match, but that made me think, you know, what if I were to own that in the kind of music that I was afraid to make, because I didn't think that would match my vibe, you know? So I wanted to try to take the vibe that I did connect with, which was, you know, the kind of vibe of Gentleman and that like slow 90s sex type jam, you know, but like bring it into my world, you know? Like, I'm still, you know, like I still have all of that energy, but I just wanted to do it in my own way. So I didn't want to like over-sexualize it. I wanted to shoot it on 35mm film, and like, you know, I wanted to, you know, make it like really shadowy, and I didn't want to like be flexing muscles the whole time. I wanted to like see my bones, and like, I'm a skinny dude, you know, like I just wanted to try to take what inspired me about what Seal did and try to like do it in my own way. Obviously to like a much lesser extent, but like I just felt like, you know, if you're gonna create art, I just wanted to make something that I saw in my head.
I love that. What has been the most difficult thing for you as an artist Is it like expressing yourself, sharing yourself? You said that, you know, sometimes you are scared. What has been that biggest struggle for you?
I think that's a tough one. I think probably constantly reassuring yourself that, you know, there's going to be a place for whatever you make, you know, and not trying to, you know, you don't want to create something just to get a reaction, you know. Like I have the thought sometimes, it was like, oh, let me try and make this to see if I can get some kind of reaction. But ultimately, once you start and try to do that, it just doesn't. I don't think it will ever feel right. I think it's just kind of, you know, you have your tools and you just make what you make and you put it out and you know, try to make, as long as it represents your artistic vision as close as possible. I feel like that's when you have the greater chance of anybody else responding to it.
Mm. I'm super excited right now for the state of R&B. Like, I feel there's so many great artists. How do you keep from blending in from everybody else? How do you set yourself apart?
Oh, I think that's easy. I mean, I'm like, it would be harder for me to try to fit in. I feel like. I mean, that's been easy for me. I think, you know, I think that's been easy.
Is there any artist that you have your ear on right now?
Yeah, I really like Kalila, who's from the DC area, but she has an album out called "Take Me Apart." I think she put it out like a couple, maybe like last year. But the stuff that she does in that album is really, really crazy. It's hard to describe or pinpoint, and I think that's why it speaks to me a lot.
Nice. Well, your music really speaks to me a lot. When can we expect this album?
I mean, you know how that goes, but I think it's.
I know, but I'm trying to get some juice out here. Okay, give me some tea.
It's July, so I'll say September, and then once September rolls around, it's
You're
probably
going to say something else?
November, and then, you know, and then maybe it's an EP instead of an album because something changed. Who knows? But I'm supposed to say September.
Okay, well, we're gonna go with September. Do you have a name for it yet?
I want to call it. I want to self-title it. But then I'm going to say it's called that, and then it's going to be called something different.
So basically, you just tell me all these lies.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
and then it'll just come out online, and it'll just be like a mixtape, and then it'll be, you know.
You did talk about the "Does It Matter" remix with A$AP Ferg.
Yes.
Could we expect any other collaborations on this album?
Yeah, definitely. I have a couple. I work with this group Hair Squeed that I'm a really big fan of. Joey Badass I work with.
Hey, I love Joey.
Yeah, he's great. And a couple other people that I don't know if I'm allowed to say just yet, but
just tell us. It's okay. You're allowed. I got the word. It's clear.
But you know, it's I'm excited about it. It's I think there's going to be a lot more energy coming from outside than there has been before for me, and so I'm just excited to be able to, you know, stand next to these people who inspire me a lot and add something really, really fun and creative to every track.
I like that. Is there one, if you could have one person on top of your list that you would love to collaborate with that hasn't happened yet, who would that person be? Dead or alive? Go for it.
Dead or alive? It's always
your choice.
For me, it's always been Brandy and Babyface. But I think, you know, I just did a cover of Brandy's Put That On Everything. Which is one of my. It's like an album cut from Never Say Never. If you haven't heard it, if you drive at night and you put it on, it's like the craziest experience. But she's always been at the top of my list. I just think she just owns her house, you know, and it's just inspiring.
That's beautiful. We're definitely gonna be looking out in September for that album.